Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine from Behind the Markets. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, March 21st. Today is National Single Parents Day. And I got to give a shout out for that. I was raised for many years by a single mom who had me when she was 21, which is normal back then, and then had my brother when she was 23. Went back to school. I watched her go to night school, and I learned my work ethic from her. She became an accountant and then actually rose up the executive ranks and did very well. And we were called latchkey kids back then. It was not that big of a deal, but here we are, and we all turned out okay, but you did what you had to do. So today is National Single Parents Day. That's a cool thing. Anyway, today I want to talk about the Fed meeting that was released, the minutes that were released Wednesday. And the Fed came out with the hints of stagflation. They're showing up in the numbers, in the data. What a nasty word stagflation is, isn't it? Stagflation. Such a nasty word. Anyway, we're not talking about late 70s, early 80s stagflation. The economy is very much different back then. Back then, you had a situation where companies kept inventories on their books, and it wasn't computerized to the extent, and things didn't flow through the economy as quickly as they do now. Now, basically, companies force vendors to keep inventory on their book. It's done real-time inventory, all this other management stuff that's really changed that. So we're not talking about late 70s, early 80s when I grew up stagflation. We're doing when you guys were young and dealing with gas pump trouble for the oil embargo. We're talking about a modern version of that, which means stagnant growth. We're talking about growth from 2.1% estimated down to 1.7%, but it's still growth, which is, okay. And we're talking about inflation that has risen 0.5%, which is a pretty big bump. So, the Fed has reintroduced this concept of transitory inflation, and that is largely because many of the policies that Trump is putting into place are going to be inflationary. Tariffs are inflationary. People are paying more for things like that, and that's the bottom line. But look, when I try to tell my friends, or I try to tell myself basically, that what we're talking about here is a realignment of the American economy, for better or for worse. There are positives and negatives on both sides of this. Just one shocking statistic that shows you how important it is for the government to be realigned is a Bureau of Economic Analysis. Somebody took the statistics from the Bureau of Economic Analysis and found that almost 60% of corporate earnings generated between 2022 and the third quarter of 2024 can be attributed to public sector spending and investment. Think about that. 60% of the corporate earnings generated between 2022 and the third quarter of 2024 could be attributed to public sector spending and investment. This is what we were talking about a lot last year, that the Biden administration had backloaded a lot of fiscal stimulus for the last term of their administration leading up to the election. And that is, again, true of all administrations that will do this, but 60% of corporate earnings generated in that time is based on public sector spending. It's really surprising. Now we are trying to reduce the public sector spending footprint. And there are websites you can go to online that talks about, you can see how to get the budget deficit under control. And they give you a bunch of little widgets that you can use, and cut Social Security is one of the answers. Cut Medicare, Medicaid, other answers. Another one is cut 25% of public sector employees. And that is actually what is happening right now. So that is actually going to contribute to lower growth. You're getting more people unemployed until the job market picks them up, hopefully. And it's actually going to, in the longer run, help inflation because you're not going to have as much people spending money chasing products. So over time, that would naturally be against inflation, but these tariffs have made everything that we're dealing with more expensive. So we are in a transition economy. That's just the best way to look at it. It's going to be ugly, in my view, in the meantime, but we are where we are. You got to play the ball where it is, not where we want it to be. And this is where the ball is. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I will see you bright and early Monday morning.